She said I wasn't a priority, so I let her stand in that room and watch me say yes to the woman who never asked me to be one. It was Anna's birthday dinner, a rooftop view, glass candles, jazz humming under the stars. I'd booked it 2 months in advance because she said she liked surprises, but she showed up 40 minutes late, still on a call with Daniel, her new business partner. She gave me a kiss on the cheek like she was checking off an errand. "Sorry, something came up," she said, sliding into the seat opposite me. "Let's not ruin the mood." I didn't speak, I just nodded, pouring her wine. She didn't notice that I didn't pour my own. Anna glanced at the skyline, took a few photos, smiled at her phone, not at me, then she looked up and said it. Just like that. "You're important, Robert. But right now, I just have other priorities." Other priorities. The words didn't slap me, they chiseled, slow, precise. I'd left the boardroom early for this, canceled a pitch meeting with investors who had flown in from Dubai. I'd rescheduled my mother's medical consultation just to be here, and yet, I wasn't even the dinner she came for. I was the side plate. I folded my napkin. "Then let's not waste more of your valuable time." Anna blinked. "What do you mean?" I stood. "You're not a priority, Robert," I repeated her words, slowly. "I heard you for the first time." Her brows furrowed. "Why are you being dramatic?" I smiled. "You'll understand it better in a few weeks." I walked away before she could reply, left her there, staring at a table set for two, holding a glass she'd never finish. When I stepped into the parking lot, Melissa was leaning on the hood of my car. She looked up and gave that soft, understanding smile I hadn't seen in years. "Didn't think you'd actually call." "I didn't think you'd wait," I replied. She shrugged. "I said I would. That's what people do when they mean what they say." 3 years ago, Melissa and I were almost something. Almost. Until Anna came into the picture, louder, flashier, more magnetic. Melissa had quietly stepped aside. No games, no drama. She just stopped texting back one day and let me go where I thought the fire was. And now here she was, waiting, again. I unlocked the car and she walked over to the passenger seat without a word. No questions, no expectations. "You hungry?" I asked as we pulled onto the road. "A little. There's a diner still open near 8th. I remember. You used to go there when you couldn't sleep." I glanced at her. "You still remember that?" Melissa smiled. "Some people aren't forgettable." The diner hadn't changed. Same red booths, cracked jukebox, waitress with too much eyeliner. We took the corner booth. Melissa ordered pancakes. I didn't order anything. "You look tired," she said. "I am." She didn't ask why. We sat in silence for a while. A good silence, the kind that doesn't ask for space or explanation, the kind Anna never understood. Then Melissa said, "You know, I never blamed you." I looked at her. For what? For choosing someone who made noise over someone who stayed quiet. My throat tightened. "You shouldn't have had to understand that." She smiled sadly. "Some of us understand things we shouldn't. It's what makes us who we are." Outside, the night was starting to fog. Inside, the warmth didn't come from the food. I asked her, "If I told you Anna said I wasn't a priority, would you believe me?" Melissa didn't hesitate. "Yes. And if I said she meant it, I'd still believe you. And if I said she might regret it?" Melissa looked away. "Then I'd wonder if you still care." That sentence hit harder than Anna's ever did. The waitress brought the pancakes. Melissa cut into them slowly, offering me a bite. I shook my head. My appetite was buried under years of waiting. She asked, "So what now?" I exhaled. Now, I remember who waited. Melissa met my eyes. "And do you?" "I do." Neither of us said anything after that. We didn't need to. As I dropped her home, she paused before stepping out. "If you ever want to make someone your priority again." I looked at her. "Yeah?" "Just make sure they weren't standing behind you the whole time." She closed the door gently. I watched her walk up the steps. No backward glance, no lingering hope, just quiet strength. Anna's words still echoed, but Melissa's silence said more. And suddenly, I realized, I hadn't walked away from love. I walked toward it. My name is Robert Chen. I'm 31. People know me as the man who scaled a logistics startup into a multi-million-dollar enterprise before I turned 30. To the outside world, that's all I am: strategic, composed, hyper-rational. What they don't see is that under every deal closed, every zero added to the balance sheet, there was someone I was trying to impress. Someone who never really looked up from her phone long enough to see the man behind the work. That someone was Anna. We met at a partner networking event in 2019. She was working PR for a boutique fashion label at the time, carrying herself like she already owned every room she entered. She wore white silk and walked like she had no fear of spilling wine. Anna had this ability to make silence feel intentional, calculated, deliberate. I introduced myself, and instead of the usual polite interest, she said, "Robert, huh? You look like you hate small talk." I blinked. "I do." She smiled like she'd won. "Perfect, I do too." That was our beginning, fast-paced, effortless, intoxicating. The first few weeks felt like a movie I didn't want to end. I sent good morning texts, she replied with photos of coffee. I sent Spotify links, she sent videos of herself dancing to them. I took her to dinners she'd post about hours later. We kissed under neon signs, beside elevators, even in boardrooms I wasn't supposed to be in. The first time she disappeared for 3 days, I told myself she was busy. When she resurfaced with a casual, "Sorry, crazy week," I accepted it. Because Anna didn't beg for space, she just took it. And somehow, I convinced myself that was power. I should have seen the flags earlier, the birthdays she skipped, the calls ended mid-conversation, the times she showed up late to events I had planned months in advance. I always told myself it wasn't personal. She had a demanding job, she wasn't used to structure, she was free-spirited, but deep down, I knew. She prioritized what made her feel powerful, and I never was. Still, I stayed. Not because I didn't see the signs, but because I kept believing that if I waited long enough, gave enough, proved enough, I could become the man she didn't need space from. That's where Melissa comes in. Melissa and I were friends before Anna ever knew I existed. We met in university, same lecture halls, same over-caffeinated nights spent revising in the campus library. While Anna commanded every room, Melissa blended into the walls. But she remembered everything. She'd text me reminders about deadlines I forgot, and she was always the last to leave the room if she knew someone else needed help. She was soft, but not fragile. Quiet, but not invisible. There was something about her that made you feel safe, even if you didn't deserve it. We nearly dated once. It was the summer before I launched my company. I asked her out to dinner, not as friends. She said yes. It was simple, easy, and unforced. I told her about my startup plan. She listened like it mattered. When I told her I wasn't sure how to balance a relationship with everything I was building, she said, "Then don't promise me anything, just be honest." But I wasn't, not completely. Because a week later, Anna happened, and I didn't tell Melissa right away. It wasn't because I was hiding it, I just didn't want to lose her presence, but silence is its own betrayal. Melissa disappeared from my messages one morning, no drama, no explanation, just absence, and I let her go, because Anna demanded space, and Melissa never did. 3 years later, I found myself looking at Melissa in a parking lot after walking away from Anna's rooftop birthday dinner. She stood there like time had never passed, same calm face, same unspoken understanding. She didn't ask what happened, she didn't need to. But what she said next stayed with me. "You used to fight so hard for her," Melissa said. "I used to wonder what it would feel like to be the one you fought for." I didn't reply. I didn't know how, because the truth was, I never fought for Melissa. I just expected her to always be there, and now, here she was, still waiting, without expectation, without bitterness. The morning after Anna's dinner, I woke up to a message from Daniel, not Anna, Daniel. "Hope there are no hard feelings about last night. Anna told me things are complicated between you two. She's figuring it out." I stared at the screen. The nerve of it. Daniel had joined Anna's firm as an external consultant 8 months ago. From the moment I saw him whispering to her at the Christmas party, I knew. Not because I was paranoid, but because Anna only leaned in that close when she was already emotionally elsewhere. Still, I kept giving her room. Still, I stayed. Because I believed that loyalty meant endurance, that if I loved someone through the worst, they'd choose me at their best. But Anna didn't choose me. She tolerated me. Daniel's text confirmed it. They were already close. The birthday dinner wasn't a test, it was a dismissal. I didn't reply to him. Instead, I sent a message to Melissa. "Can I see you again today? You don't need a reason, just come." When I arrived at her place, she had 2 mugs ready. She offered the one that had "calm as hell" printed on it, said it reminded her of me back in college. I took it, but I didn't drink. Melissa sat beside me and asked, "Do you still love her?" "I don't think I ever loved her," I said. "I think I loved chasing someone who didn't need me." Melissa nodded. "It happens to good people." I looked at her. "Do you think I'm still one of those?" She held my gaze. "You could be." We sat in that quiet place again. No phones, no checking the time, no subtle glances at doors. I don't know if that moment was when things started again between us. Maybe it was the day I called, maybe it was 3 years ago, when she let me go without hating me. But that day, I told myself something I should have known from the beginning. Love doesn't show up late, it waits, silently, steadily, without performance. And so, me times, you don't need a reason to return to it. The message came at 2:13 a.m. "Anna, can we talk? I think I made a mistake." I stared at the glowing screen in the dark. Not surprised, not angry, just flat. Melissa was asleep on the couch, her head resting gently on a throw pillow. We hadn't done anything, not even kissed, just talked, just existed. I had driven over after another strange call from Daniel, something about Anna possibly quitting the firm. I didn't care, but I guess I did enough to mention it. Melissa told me to sit down, that I looked like I hadn't slept in a week. Now, Anna was texting like we were something still salvageable, like we'd just misplaced a connection and now all it needed was a reset. But it wasn't lost, it was thrown, prioritized below Daniel, work, appearances, anything that gave her power over attention. I didn't reply, but I also didn't sleep. By morning, Melissa was gone. She had left a note on the kitchen counter. "Didn't want to wake you, you looked like you needed the rest more than me. Call me when you want coffee, or answers, or neither." I folded the note and slid it into my pocket. Anna called twice that day. I ignored both. On the 3rd call, she left a voicemail. "Robert, I don't know what I said the other night, but it came out wrong. You know how I get when I'm overwhelmed. I didn't mean it like that, I needed some time to think, but you walked away without letting me explain. Was that really fair?" Fair, that word. Anna used it like a scale, always tilted to her side. I didn't delete the voicemail, but I didn't listen again either. That week, rumors started swirling. A friend from the firm texted me, "Did you hear? Daniel and Anna are dating," went public at the partner dinner. That made no sense. 2 weeks ago, she had asked to talk. She said she made a mistake. Now she was showing up on LinkedIn party photos beside Daniel, his hand low on her waist, her eyes tilted toward the camera just enough to say, "I won." It wasn't the betrayal that burned, it was the choreography. She wanted to win a game I didn't even know we were still playing. Melissa came over the next evening. She didn't say much, just dropped by with takeout and silence. While we ate, I told her about the post, the photo, the public performance. She didn't flinch. "I figured it was coming," Melissa said, picking at her noodles. "Anna always needed an audience. And Daniel?" I asked. She looked up. "He always needed a mirror." The comment made me pause. "You know him?" Melissa nodded. "We were in the same cohort during our MBA. He liked people he could reflect himself off of. Loud, fast, convenient, never consistent. So Anna fit perfectly, and I was never meant to be convenient." The next day, Anna showed up at my office unannounced. My assistant buzzed. "There's Miss Anna here, should I let her in?" I hesitated for 2 seconds, then said, "Let her wait." I made her sit in the reception area for 40 minutes. When I finally stepped out, I found her scrolling through her phone, legs crossed, pretending not to care. She looked up with a wide smile. "Wow, still so dramatic, Robert." I didn't smile. "You wanted time. You have it now." She stood and followed me into the hallway. "Robert, don't be like this. I never planned any of this. Daniel and I. It wasn't supposed to be what people think." I turned. "What is it then?" She blinked. "He's been there for me. That night you walked away, he listened." "And when I was there for you for 3 years?" I asked, voice quiet. Anna exhaled. "You made everything feel like a transaction. You always wanted clarity, definition, titles. I just needed space to breathe." "Space to lie," I corrected. She stepped closer. Robert, if I'm being honest, I only went public with Daniel because I thought it would make you react. I nodded slowly. It did. Her eyes lit up. It did? It helped me realize you were never confused, you were calculating. Her face froze. I leaned in. You wanted to win, you just didn't expect me to leave the arena. Anna looked genuinely shaken. For the first time in years, I saw her falter. What about Melissa? She asked, voice thin. I paused. She waited. Anna's face darkened. So she wins? She didn't compete, I said. She just stayed. That night, Melissa texted. I know she showed up, you okay? She's scared of losing something she already lost. She doesn't know what she lost, that's the difference. You free tomorrow? Always. But nothing stays quiet for long. Daniel called me the next morning. His tone wasn't professional. You think this makes you some kind of hero, making Anna cry? She's spiraling, Robert. I didn't reply. He kept going. You're just mad because she didn't choose you. I finally spoke. No, Daniel. I'm mad I spent 3 years thinking I was ever in the race. You think Melissa's any better? He scoffed. That girl worships your shadow, you're just picking the quieter puppet. I smiled. At least Melissa doesn't need an audience to be loyal. He hung up. Later that week, Anna went online. Her Instagram caption read, "Some people love control, others love convenience, only a few know how to love a person." The photo, Daniel holding her hand in the corner of a candle-lit restaurant, carefully staged, perfect lighting, multiple angles. The comments were brutal. Glad you're finally happy. That Robert guy was so toxic anyway. Daniel and Anna. Anything else? Queen behavior. But the next slide said everything. A video clip of Anna laughing, but in her reflection, my business logo on the restaurant window behind her. She knew what she was doing, so I responded once. One story, one sentence. It's easy to laugh when you don't know what you lost. Then I turned off my phone. Melissa called that night. You okay? Do you ever regret being quiet? I asked her. She laughed softly. Only when I realize silence gets mistaken for weakness. You're not weak. And you're not broken, she replied. That weekend, we walked into a charity event together, public, visible, no secrecy, no agenda. Anna was there, so was Daniel. When they saw us holding hands, they both froze. Melissa squeezed gently. You sure? I'm not trying to prove anything, I whispered back. I'm just done hiding the one who never asked me to be perfect. The cameras clicked, the flashbulbs captured it all. Let them talk. The hardest part of walking away isn't the silence that follows, it's the noise in your head that refuses to stop. I thought I was done with Anna. I told myself I had closed the door, locked it, thrown away the key. But sometimes healing doesn't come with silence, it comes with volume of questions you're too proud to ask, volume of memories that keep knocking, uninvited. Melissa noticed it, she always did. You seem off today, she said one afternoon as we sat at a coffee shop 2 blocks from my office. She was sketching something into her journal, absent-mindedly. I was stirring coffee I had no intention of drinking. I'm fine, I lied. You never stir more than 3 times, this is your 10th. I looked up. You really count that? She gave a sad smile. I count the things that matter. That sentence hit me harder than Anna's birthday rejection. Because it made me realize I'd been surrounded by people who counted what I lacked, while Melissa kept count of what I was. But that didn't mean I wasn't haunted. The night after that charity event, I couldn't sleep. I stared at the ceiling, Melissa's head resting on my shoulder, breathing steady. The image of Anna's eyes catching mine across the gala kept looping in my brain, not because I missed her, but because I hated the version of myself I was when she held all the control. Was I still that man? The one who waited for her texts like a starving man at an empty table? Melissa stirred beside me. I pulled her closer, grounding myself in the warmth of something real, but the morning headlines shattered it. Exes collide, Anna Liu and Robert Chen face off at charity gala. Fashion's power couple versus tech's golden boy, who's winning? Melissa Shaw, the quiet girl stealing headlines. They had used her name. Melissa didn't even have public socials, Yet now, there she was, painted as the rebound, the second choice, the axi. Sorry. I was livid. I called the magazine's PR department. You had no consent to publish her name. The response was casual. Public appearance, public interest. Melissa didn't ask for this. Neither did Anna, but this is how the press works, Mr. Chen. I hung up. Melissa wasn't mad, she never was. I knew being seen with you would come with a price, she said, brushing flour off her hands while she baked. She baked when she was anxious, I noticed that too. But you didn't deserve this, I said, jaw clenched. It's fine, she replied, better to be wrongly seen than never seen at all. No, it's not, I shot back. You've spent years being the one in the background while someone like Anna made noise for applause. Melissa paused. I didn't stay in the background, I just never chased the spotlight. That night, I couldn't sleep again, not because I missed Anna, but because I didn't know if I was bringing Melissa peace or dragging her into war. The next day, Daniel left a voicemail. Hope your new PR darling's enjoying the fame, but careful, Robert, when the media's done with her, they'll come for you next. You think Anna's your enemy, but really, it's the story people want to tell. I didn't respond. I forwarded the voicemail to Melissa. She called immediately. Is this why you've been off? Partly. I don't care about what people say, she said softly. But if you do, then that's a different problem. I sighed. It's not that I care what they say about me, it's what they'll do to you. Melissa was silent for a moment. I can take being misunderstood, but I won't survive being pushed away by you. That silenced me. Because she was right. I'd been pushing, subtly, quietly, emotionally withdrawing, even while physically staying. Because I was afraid, not of her, not of us, but of repeating history. I went quiet. Melissa broke the silence. Robert, do you still feel her in your head? I answered honestly. Not her, the damage she left. And there it was. Melissa didn't ask me to explain. She didn't demand healing on her terms. She just said, then let me be the part of your story that doesn't hurt. But life doesn't pause for healing. That weekend, I found out Anna had leaked photos from our relationship, old ones. Ones I had never shared online, me cooking in her apartment, her leaning into my shoulder. The caption read, not everything you lose was ever yours, sometimes it just took longer to walk away. People ate it up. Anna deserved better. Robert moved on too fast. Melissa is the backup prize. Melissa didn't react. But when I found her that night, she was scrubbing a pan in the sink like it owed her money. I walked up behind her and placed my hand on her lower back. She flinched, barely, but I noticed. She's trying to erase your presence, Melissa whispered. No, I said. She's trying to remind herself she used to matter. Melissa turned off the tap. Then why do I still feel like I'm being compared? Because you are, I admitted. But not by me. Then by who? By the version I haven't fully outgrown it. Melissa looked at me, eyes glassy. And how long until he leaves too? I took her hand. He already did. He left the night you reminded me I don't need to win against someone who keeps moving the finish line. Melissa didn't cry, she just nodded. But I could feel the exhaustion in her bones. I knew I had to do something more than reassure myself. The next day, I held a press conference, not for the company, not for Anna, for her. I stood in front of flashing cameras and said, I ask that the media stop dragging Melissa Shaw into narratives she never subscribed to. She didn't steal me, she found me, whole, but scarred, and she held space when I didn't know how to exist. This isn't a love triangle, this is a story about someone who was overlooked, choosing the one who never looked away. It went viral, Melissa trended, but this time, not as the rebound. Robert Chen publicly defends new partner. Melissa Shaw praised for grace under pressure. Anna Lu remained silent after X's viral statement. Melissa didn't say much when I came home. Just poured us tea, sat beside me, and whispered, thank you. But in her thank you, I heard all the wounds I hadn't yet healed. I asked her, are you scared? Every day, she replied. But I'm more scared of going through it without you. I didn't speak. I pulled her close and held her like she was everything that never asked to be earned. That night, I slept, no ceiling, no noise, just breathe, hers, and finally, mine. I thought the worst was behind us, that the storm Anna had brought into my life had finally passed, but sometimes storms don't leave, they just change their name. 2 weeks after the press conference, I got a legal notice. The sender, Daniel Yuen. The subject, defamation. According to Daniel's lawyers, my public defense of Melissa, specifically the phrase, "this isn't a love triangle," had indirectly implied he was the disposable one. They claimed it damaged his personal brand and business credibility, especially since he was launching his own consulting firm and courting investors. I read the letter 3 times. Melissa found me standing at the kitchen island, eyes glazed over the document. "Bad news?" she asked. I handed it to her without a word. She read silently, then she laughed. One short, tired breath. "He's suing you for calling me your girlfriend?" "He's suing me for not calling him anything," I replied. Melissa set the papers down and crossed her arms. "What does Anna have to do with this?" I shook my head. "Nothing." But we both knew that was a lie. Daniel wasn't the type to go nuclear without a push. And Anna, whether she wanted to admit it or not, still wanted control. If she couldn't have me, she'd burn the air I breathed. Melissa sighed. "So what now?" "We fight it," I said. "Legally, publicly, whatever it takes." She didn't flinch. "Okay." That one word meant everything. She didn't ask for time, she didn't ask if I was sure, she just stood beside me, unshaken, but the world outside wasn't as still. Within a day of the notice, the media picked it up. Yuen versus Chen, ex-love triangle goes to court? Melissa Shaw named in defamation case. Anna Liu's silence fuels speculation in legal war. Suddenly, I wasn't a tech CEO, I was a headline. And Melissa, she was clickbait. Anna finally spoke. A statement released on her behalf read, "I have no involvement in the legal decisions of others. I simply want peace for everyone involved." Peace. She said that like it was an olive branch instead of a smokescreen. Melissa read the statement on my couch. Her hands didn't shake, but her voice cracked once when she said, "Do you think she'll ever let go?" "I think she already did," I said, "but letting go isn't the same as moving on." That night, I received an email from a blocked address. No name, no signature, just a subject line. "Before court, meet me once." Attached was a time, a location, Anna's old favorite rooftop lounge. Melissa saw it over my shoulder. "You going?" she asked. I turned to her. "Should I?" "I won't stop you," she said. "But if you go, just remember, she doesn't want closure, she wants control of the ending." I showed up anyway. Not because I was tempted, but because some fires need to be stared at one last time before you walk away. Anna was already there when I arrived, same corner booth, same white wine, same slow sip like she was the one with answers. "Glad you came," she said. "I came to end this," I replied. Anna smiled faintly. "Always so final with your words. I learned it from you." She set her glass down. "Daniel's doing this because he's angry, but also because he's scared. His investors are nervous. He thinks if he wins this case, he can clear his name." "And if he loses?" I asked. "He'll blame me," she said, almost amused. I narrowed my eyes. "Aren't you already involved?" Anna didn't deny it. "He asked me if he should sue. I told him to do what makes him feel powerful." "And you knew I'd protect Melissa." She leaned forward. "I knew you couldn't stand to see her hurt." I said nothing. She continued, "I didn't expect you to move on so fast, but I guess people always surprise us when we think we know them." I stared at her. "You didn't know me, Anna. You knew the version of me that didn't know himself yet." She sat back. That one hit. "You really love her, don't you?" she asked. I nodded. "I loved you when it was painful. I love her because it isn't." Anna's smile faltered. "Do you ever think about us?" I didn't hesitate. "Only when I'm reminding myself who not to be." She laughed, quiet, almost embarrassed. "Then I guess I did teach you something." "You did," I said. "You taught me the value of time, and how dangerous it is to give it to someone who doesn't return it." She looked away. "Daniel's not going to stop." "Then I won't either." She glanced at me. "If this goes to court, people will dig into everything. Your past, mine, Melissa's. Is she ready for that?" I stood up. "She doesn't need to be, because I'll be in front of it." Anna stayed seated. Goodbye, Robert. I turned. No, just done. I left her there. This time, for good. When I got home, Melissa was waiting on the balcony. City lights behind her. She didn't ask me how it went. She just said, "Do you want me to step out of the public eye until it passes?" I walked over and took her hand. You step back, and she wins again. Then we stay visible, Melissa said. The next morning, we countersued Daniel for harassment and emotional damages. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't defending my past, I was protecting my future. Court day. It wasn't a criminal trial, no orange jumpsuits, no jury, but the courtroom still felt heavy, cold, too clean to be honest. Daniel sat 2 rows ahead with his lawyer, his designer suit sharper than his jawline. Anna wasn't beside him. But I saw her in the back corner when I entered. Sunglasses indoors, classic move. Melissa was beside me. Hair tied back, charcoal coat, soft blue scarf. Her hands were clasped tightly, knuckles white. I placed mine over hers and squeezed. She didn't look at me, she just whispered, "Let's finish this." The judge called the room to order. The air thickened. My lawyer spoke first. "Your Honor, this case is a transparent attempt at retaliation by Mr. Daniel Yuen after public embarrassment due to his own actions. Mr. Chen's public statement was not defamatory, it was defensive. It protected Ms. Melissa Shaw from slander and restored factual narrative." Daniel's lawyer stood. Slick voice, sharp diction. "Your Honor, Mr. Chen leveraged his public influence to portray Mr. Yuen as manipulative, unprofessional, and emotionally unstable, all without directly naming him. But implication cuts deeper than accusation." The judge nodded. "Do you have proof Mr. Chen intended damage?" Daniel's lawyer handed over screenshots. My video, the viral post, thousands of comments. Some called Daniel a snake, others mocked his name. Then the judge looked at me. "Mr. Chen, did you know your words would provoke such reactions?" I stood, steady. "Yes." "And you still posted it?" "Yes." "Why?" I turned to the bench, then to Melissa, then to Anna. "I let my words carry. Because for 3 years, I let someone else control my narrative. I let Anna Lu tell the world I was obsessive, overbearing, hard to love. I stayed silent while rumors painted me as the man who begged at her feet. When she left, I said nothing. When she went public with Daniel, I stayed quiet again. I paused. But when the person who never asked anything of me, Melissa, started getting dragged through the dirt just for being kind to me, I couldn't stay silent anymore. Melissa's eyes glistened. She blinked quickly, refusing to let it fall. The judge tapped his pen. "So it wasn't about Daniel?" "No, Your Honor, it was about finally valuing the person who waited." Daniel stood up abruptly. "So I'm the villain?" The judge raised an eyebrow. "Mr. Yuen, please sit." Daniel ignored him. "He's acting like I stole Anna, like I manipulated her. But the truth is, he never made her feel seen. He was obsessed with being understood, not with understanding her." Anna stood now. "Stop it, Daniel." Every head turned. The judge sighed. "Ms. Liu, this is not your hearing." She stepped forward anyway. "No, but this is my fault." The judge didn't stop her. Anna removed her sunglasses. Her eyes were red, not from sadness, lack of sleep maybe, or guilt. "I told Daniel to sue," she said. "I told him it would make him look strong, that it would ruin Robert's image and force Melissa to back off." Gasps scattered across the room. Daniel turned to her, stunned. "You said you'd back me." "I lied," Anna said coldly. "I never planned to support the case. I just wanted Robert to feel the same panic I did when I watched him walk away without a second glance." The courtroom froze. Anna looked at the judge. "Robert's not guilty of defamation. He's guilty of something worse." The judge frowned. "Which is?" Anna smiled sadly. "Healing without me." She turned to Melissa. "And you? You're everything I never had the patience to be." Melissa didn't speak. Anna faced me last. "You're right, Robert. I never prioritized you. But the truth is, you were never the backup plan. You were the full course. I just couldn't taste it because I was still chasing appetizers." The judge cleared his throat. "That will be all, Ms. Liu." Anna nodded, stepped back, and sat down. Daniel sat too, but slower, smaller. The judge reviewed for several minutes, then delivered the verdict. No proof of malicious intent, no damages qualified under defamation, case dismissed. He banged the gavel. Melissa exhaled for the first time in an hour. I placed my hand over hers again. This time, she turned and met my eyes. We didn't smile. We just existed. Anna left without a word. Daniel stormed out 2 minutes later, slamming the door behind him. Outside the courthouse, cameras waited. I raised my hand and said one sentence. It's over. But it wasn't, not fully. Not until Melissa and I sat down that evening, tea in hand, fireplace low, and she asked me, "Do you regret any of it?" I thought for a long time. No. Not even Anna. No, I said. Because if I hadn't met Anna, I would have never understood how deep real peace feels when I'm with you. Melissa didn't smile. She just leaned forward and kissed me. It wasn't fireworks, it was grounding. Not the kind that lifts you off the floor. The kind that tells you you're finally home. 3 months later, peace finally had a rhythm. Melissa and I moved into a modest place on the edge of the city, nothing flashy, just quiet. Her books lived on every windowsill, my watch collection stayed in one drawer, she baked on Thursdays, I cooked on Sundays, and when we were both too tired to do either, we ordered cheap noodles and ate on the balcony like teenagers. Anna didn't call again. Daniel went dark after the case dismissal. Public opinion turned on both of them, slowly but steadily. Anna's brand deals dried up when sponsors realized she'd engineered the lawsuit. Daniel's firm failed to secure funding after investor trust plummeted. I didn't lift a finger, but I wasn't done. Revenge isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet, surgical, a signature at the bottom of a contract, a smile in the boardroom, a clause buried deep in legal paperwork. Anna didn't know that I had quietly acquired a 51% stake in the boutique label she used to work for, the one she left for Daniel's firm. That label was failing now, barely afloat. Their new investor Estes whooped in under a shell company, offering a lifeline. She had no idea the lifeline had my initials on it. Until the day her manager forwarded her a meeting invite, new controlling partner. Intro, R. Chen Capital. Anna walked into the boardroom like she still ran it, saw me at the head of the table, and for the first time ever, she paused. "Robert," she said, "you're the new partner?" I smiled. "I'm your majority shareholder now." She sat down slowly. "Why?" I leaned forward. "Because I believe in rebuilding broken things, if they're still worth something." Her jaw clenched. I gestured around. This brand was never the problem, the people were. "You bought this to control me?" "No," I said. "I bought it so you'd know what it feels like to be silently replaced." I slid a document across the table. "This is your termination, payout included, NDA clause enforced." Her eyes didn't leave mine. "You still hate me?" "No," I said calmly. "I finally feel nothing." She took the paper, read every line. She tried to laugh. It came out shaky. "So this is your revenge?" "This is closure," I said. "You said I wasn't a priority, so I let you become one, for my accountant." Anna stood slowly. Her eyes were glassy, but no tears fell. She reached for the paper. "I won't fight this." "I know," I said. "You already lost." As she walked out, I leaned back. Power didn't taste like rage. It tasted like stillness, like the exact moment a storm breaks and everything finally stops shaking. The next phase was Daniel. While Anna's career was now extinguished, Daniel still had a few sparks left. A new tech proposal, pitched to a major VC firm, the same one Melissa now consulted for on business vetting. She flagged his proposal for inconsistencies. Not lies, exactly, just overselling and inflated projections. She didn't tell me, she didn't need to, but the firm dropped him within 48 hours. Daniel tried to pivot, launch something smaller, solo, but the industry was tired of his name, and when people stop replying to your emails, you don't fade with thunder, you disappear with a blink. I never saw either of them again. Months passed. Melissa's art show opened in spring. I stood beside her the entire evening, watching strangers admire the pieces she'd kept in notebooks for years. She titled the collection, "The One Who Waited." The press asked about the name. She just smiled. "This one's not about the past, it's about what stayed." That night, we walked home in silence, fingers interlocked. At the doorstep, she paused. "Do you ever think we got lucky?" she asked. No, I said. I think we finally stopped hoping the wrong people would see our value. She nodded. What happens now? I looked at her. Now? We live, and we keep choosing each other, even when no one's watching. Melissa smiled. Even if I burn the bread again tomorrow? I kissed her forehead. Especially then. I went to bed that night without checking my phone. The world outside could scroll, post, speculate. But inside these walls, inside this life, we were done being content for anyone else's drama. I woke up next to the woman who stayed. And Anna? She woke up knowing the man who used to wait for her. I was no longer waiting at all.